Rich Piana wasn't just any bodybuilder. He became a true legend within the fitness community. With his enormous arms that seemed to defy the limits of the human body and a personality as distinctive as his physique, Piana quickly stood out among the giants of the sport. His natural charisma, combined with a straightforward and no-nonsense approach, catapulted him to stardom. But what truly made Rich Piana an icon was his ability to connect with people in a way that few can. He knew how to leverage social media not only to share his journey, but also to build a community of loyal followers who saw him not just as an athlete, but as a mentor and a friend. Piana's authenticity was one of the main reasons he gained so many admirers. In an industry where the truth is often hidden behind curtains of perfection, Piana stood out by being brutally honest about his use of anabolic steroids. Born and raised in California, he never tried to hide the fact that he used drugs to enhance his performance. Instead, he chose to tackle the topic head-on, openly discussing his challenges, choices, and the consequences of his decisions throughout his career. This raw and realistic transparency made Piana a polarizing figure, but also someone many admired for his courage to speak what many thought but few dared to say. Unfortunately, Rich Piana's life was cut short in a sudden and tragic manner, leaving a void in the community he so profoundly inspired. After an incident at his own home, Piana passed away at the age of 46, raising a number of questions about his life, his choices, and the circumstances that led to his premature death. Who was Rich Piana really? How did he become one of the most influential figures in bodybuilding? And what exactly happened in his final days? These are the questions we will explore in detail throughout this video, unraveling the layers of a story that is both inspiring and tragic. But before we dive into this journey, I want to ask for your support to keep this channel active. If you enjoy the content I produce and want to see more videos like this, consider becoming a channel member. Your contribution, no matter how small, makes a huge difference and helps me continue bringing stories like Rich Piana's to you. Also, if you're new here and don't want to miss any content, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and hit the notification bell. This way, you'll be helping YouTube understand that this content is relevant and, at the same time, ensuring you stay up to date with all the latest updates. Now, without further ado, let's dive into Rich Piana's journey, a man who left a mark on the world of bodybuilding. Richard Eldine Piana was born in Glendale, California, on September 26, 1970, and from a very young age, his destiny seemed intertwined with the world of bodybuilding. The son of an Armenian mother and an Italian father, Piana grew up in a home that blended strong cultural traditions with a deep love for the sport. Raised by his mother in Sacramento, California, he was exposed to the world of bodybuilding early on, and by the age of 6, he already showed an unusual fascination for someone his age. While other children his age were content playing with toy cars or dolls, Piana preferred to accompany his mother to the gyms, watching her as she trained. The influence of his mother was undeniable, but it was through the legendary bodybuilder Bill Cambra, a respected figure in old-school bodybuilding, that Piana began to shape his vision of the sport. The strength, discipline, and dedication he saw in Cambra inspired him to follow the same path. At 11 years old, while many boys were just beginning to discover their passions, Piana already had a clear idea of what he wanted to do. He started lifting weights. For most children, childhood is marked by play, whether it's kicking a ball with friends or diving into the virtual worlds of video games. But for Rich Piana, the real game was pushing his own physical limits, lifting increasingly heavier weights and sculpting his body. At 15, he took the next big step in his journey by starting to compete in bodybuilding competitions. During his senior year of high school, Piana decided to live with his father in La Crescenta, California, a move that coincided with his transition into the world of professional competitions. This phase of his life marked the beginning of a career defined by his intensity, charisma, and relentless pursuit of physical perfection. Rich Piana's career was marked by meteoric success from the start. At 18, he had already won several major competitions, and in 1989, he made a name for himself by winning the NPC Mr. Teen California. It was also at 18 that he began a practice increasingly common among bodybuilders: using anabolic steroid cycles. One of the first cycles he used was known as test and deca, a combination of testosterone and decadurabolin. This decision would deeply impact his trajectory. In a 2014 statement, Piana admitted that the extraordinary results he achieved with steroids led him to develop an addiction to these substances, something he never hid from his followers. Looking back a bit, in 1998, Rich Piana reached another significant milestone in his career by winning the NPC Mr. California title. This victory opened the doors to a long and intense career as a professional bodybuilder. Over approximately 25 years, Piana competed in various competitions, winning some and breaking personal records in weightlifting. He not only dominated the stage, but also gained media attention. In November 1998, Piana graced the cover of Iron Man magazine, and years later, in 2015, appeared in the summer edition of Muscle Sport magazine. With his superhuman physique, he seemed to defy the limits of reality in many of his photos, earning comparisons to superheroes. Indeed, his imposing appearance led him to portray the Incredible Hulk in an episode of the popular TV series Scrubs. Additionally, he made a special appearance in 2004 on the show Malcolm in the Middle as a muscular man named Marcos. Although this appearance had no lines, his presence was unmistakable. Piana also appeared in a 1999 episode of the series The Parkers, titled Boomerang Effect. Besides his television appearances, Piana was a key figure in the 2017 bodybuilding documentary Generation Iron 2. He also worked as a stuntman in the 2001 film Planet of the Apes and was the subject of several series and documentaries, including the most recent, Mutant, Leaving Humanity Behind, where he detailed the steps that led him to achieve his monumental physique. In the last years of his life, Piana decided to step away from bodybuilding competitions to focus on other passions. He reinvented himself as a YouTuber and entrepreneur, creating his own line of nutrition products called Rich Piana 5% Nutrition. The brand name referred to the idea that only 5% of people are truly willing to do whatever it takes to achieve their dreams and live the life they want. Piana became a constant presence at fitness expos and his YouTube videos, where he shared advice on diet, workouts, and details of his personal life, gained him a loyal following. On Instagram, he accumulated over 1 million followers, and his YouTube channel boasted more than 1.3 million subscribers. Even outside of competitions, Piana continued to promote his brand and speak openly about the use of steroids and hormones, always warning about the potential consequences of these products. What he may not have realized was that his honesty and willingness to discuss these topics would be just the tip of the iceberg. His life and legacy, marked by achievements and controversies, left an indelible mark on the bodybuilding community, making him a figure that continues to be discussed and admired to this day. In 2014, Rich Piana made a revealing confession that shocked many of his followers. He had started to experience the side effects of prolonged steroid use. Among the issues he reported were hair loss, gynecomastia, abnormal development of breast tissue in men, and concerning signs of liver toxicity. These statements came to light during a period when Piana was becoming increasingly transparent about the risks associated with performance-enhancing substances. However, he never wavered from the decision he had made. In a 2016 video, Piana addressed the topic with even greater clarity. He reaffirmed his choice to use steroids, but made a strong appeal to his viewers not to follow the same path. In his words, "If you have the option to use steroids or stay natural, stay natural. There's no reason to use steroids. You're just hurting your body and hurting yourself." This statement reflects the dilemma many bodybuilders face: the pursuit of a perfect physique versus real health risks. Piana emphasized that for professional bodybuilders, the options are limited. He explained that to compete at the highest level, steroid use becomes almost an inevitable necessity. "I was competing on stage and was reaching the point where I would continue to be kicked off the stage if I didn't use them. So I took the step, and that's the path I chose, and here I am." Still in the same video, Piana made his strong stance against steroid use by adolescents and young people under 20 clear. He warned about the devastating effects these substances can have on the body's natural testosterone production, emphasizing that while he was not against the use of anabolic steroids, he did not encourage anyone to follow him down this dangerous path. His approach was pragmatic. He offered advice on how to use steroids safely for those who were determined to do so, understanding that in some cases, his guidance could prevent further harm. In one of the most shocking moments of his career, Piana revealed that during his time competing at the national level, he consumed up to 21 units of serostin per day, a synthetic form of human growth hormone. This regimen cost approximately $8,000 per month, an exorbitant sum that showcased how much he was willing to invest in his pursuit of physical perfection. Piana never hid the sacrifices he made for bodybuilding, but always tried to warn others about the dangers of following the same path. However, Rich Piana's life was marked by tragic ironies. Just a year after advising his followers to avoid steroid use, he suffered an unexpected death that left the bodybuilding community in shock. His death raised even more questions about the dangers of steroid use and highlighted the complexity of a man who, while advocating for these substances, was also a fierce critic of their harmful effects. On August 7th, the bodybuilding world was rocked by devastating news. Rich Piana, then 46 years old, suffered a collapse in his Florida home's bathroom. The scene was described as dramatic and disturbing, as his girlfriend, Chanel, was cutting his hair. According to the police report obtained by the sports media, the initial suspicion was an overdose. During the investigation, authorities found 20 vials of steroids at Piana's residence, further raising suspicions about the cause of the incident. Chanel, visibly shaken, told police she tried to hold her boyfriend during the collapse, but, due to Piana's immense size and weight, was unable to prevent his fall. When paramedics arrived, they found a white powder on the table next to a credit card, which led them to administer medication used in overdose cases. Chanel revealed that Piana had struggled with opioid addiction but believed he had been clean recently. However, she also mentioned that Piana had been using steroids for over 20 years, a fact that, combined with the overdose suspicions, painted a grim picture. That day, the bodybuilder was rushed to the hospital, where he was placed in a medically induced coma. He remained hospitalized for nearly 3 weeks, fighting for his life. During this time, Chanel shared a distressing update on her Instagram, informing that Piana was still alive but in critical condition, and requested prayers and respect, highlighting how difficult the situation was for family and close friends. Unfortunately, 2 weeks later, the beloved bodybuilder succumbed and passed away at 46. The autopsy report revealed alarming information. Piana showed significant signs of heart disease, and both his heart and liver weighed more than twice the average weight for an adult male. Although the report did not establish a direct connection between his death and the documented use of steroids, insulin, and other substances, the involvement of these drugs could not be entirely ruled out. This led to even more speculation about the true causes of his death. A few months after Piana's tragic loss, Chanel gave an interview to Men's Health, where she discussed the warning signs he exhibited in the days leading up to his sudden collapse. She left a poignant message about the importance of protecting loved ones, stating, "I hope people realize that while it's important to support, you need to be firm and strict. I did my best, but he was an extremely stubborn guy. All I can say is, learn from the warning signs." However, the autopsy of Piana was inconclusive regarding the exact cause and manner of his death. No toxicological analysis was conducted, and access to any toxicological data from his hospital treatment period was not made available to the coroner. Unfortunately, the hospital discarded the necessary samples for later analysis despite specific requests to preserve them. This series of failures fueled conspiracy theories about a possible cover-up of the true circumstances and causes of Rich Piana's death. The lack of clear answers cast a shadow over the legacy of a man who lived intensely, but whose death still raises many questions. The autopsy report revealed intriguing and, at the same time, disconcerting information. As detailed in the document, there were no signs of recent injuries on Rich Piana's body, which seems to rule out direct physical trauma as a cause of his death. This only adds more layers to the mystery surrounding the sudden collapse of this bodybuilding giant. The absence of clear evidence of physical trauma suggests that other factors, possibly related to his long history of substance use, could have played a crucial role in his death. As always, I like to reinforce in my responses to your comments and video content. Balance in bodybuilding and in life is everything. Rich Piana was a living example of the complexities of this sport, someone who reached notable heights but also faced deep internal challenges. This story serves as a powerful warning and reminder about the risks associated with steroid use and other substances. While Piana was a charismatic and influential figure known for his openness about steroid use, his death forces us to confront the consequences of these choices. The impact he left on the bodybuilding community is undeniable, both through his achievements and the lessons his life and death teach us. Piana's legacy is not only that of an exceptional bodybuilder but also of someone who, by sharing his journey unfiltered, allowed us to see the highs and lows of this lifestyle. Now, I ask you, who follow this story, do we really know the whole truth about what happened in the last days of Rich Piana's life? There are speculations, doubts, and certainly questions that may never be fully answered. The question of a possible cover-up of the true circumstances of his death still lingers, generating discussions among fans and experts. I would love to hear your opinion on this in the comments. Did this story touch you in any way? Leave your comment below, share your reflections, as it's always interesting to see how stories like this impact each of us differently. And don't forget, if you like this video and want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share this video with a friend who also needs to hear this story. Every time you interact with the content, you help the channel grow and reach more people, and for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'll leave it here for today. A big hug, and see you in the next video. Until next time.